Greetings, Mike Pachelli here. I'll be taking a look at the Beatles recording of Tell Me Why that they did on February 27th, 1964. Not a whole lot of information available about this song, except that we do know John Lennon wrote it entirely, and most likely during the Beatles' first USA visit early February 64. It's just based on some doo-wop chord changes, but played with a kind of a swing beat. John once said that the lyrics were about children whose parents split up because his parents split up when he was 3. But apparently he didn't, put a lot of time or effort into composing the song because he's quoted as saying, "They needed another upbeat song and I just knocked it off. It was like a black girl group New York song." About the song, Paul McCartney has said, "I think songs like Tell Me Why may have been based in real experiences or arguments with Cynthia or whatever, but it never occurred to us until later to put that slant on it all." So the Beatles are at EMI Studio 2 on February 27, 1964, with the usual lineup, John and George on guitar, Paul on bass, and Ringo on drums, and they're playing and singing live. It takes them 8 takes to get a suitable take of Tell Me Why, and then it's time for overdubs. John double tracks his lead vocal, and John, Paul, and George double track the background vocals. They also did a double tracking of the bass guitar line on piano, and that's accredited to George Martin. During that same session earlier, they had completed And I Love Her, and that day they also recorded If I Fell, Fun Facts to Know and Tell. They never performed the song live on stage, radio, or TV. But on March 31st, 1964, while they were filming bits for the Hard Day's Night, they simulated a TV show and they mimed Tell Me Why to an audience of 350 kids who were paid to be there, and including 13-year-old Phil Collins. The song was released on the United Artists album A Hard Day's Night, June 26, 1964 in the United States, and on the 10th of July in the UK. And it was also included on the Mishmash Capitol album called Something New that was released on July 20th, 1964. So that's the backstory. Let's get started. John Lennon is playing his Gibson J160E on Tell Me Why, plugged into an AC30, and I have my guitar doing the exact same thing. The mix is pretty awful on this song. The guitars are buried, but you could hear enough of the acoustic guitar at times to decipher what John was doing. So to play the intro, you need 2 chords. You need an E minor 7th, and you need an A. And you play on beat 1 and on the end of 2. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're ready to play the refrain where they first start singing. Now, the chords for the refrain are D, B minor, E minor 7th, and A. Now, after that A, you can clearly hear a D 6th. And John sometimes sings that B in the D6, He sings, sometimes he just sings the B. But, in the history of the Beatles, it's very likely that one gentleman plays a simple chord like a regular D, and the other plays the D 6th. And you can clearly hear George Harrison's guitar playing the D6. So I'm going to assume that since John was singing and playing, he may have just played a straight D. Because again, he's ending on that F sharp, which is easier to... But nevertheless, and I'm being redundant when I say this, but if one guitar plays a simple D, and the other plays the D6, it's just a fuller sound. And the Beatles did that quite a lot. So we'll assume that John played the straight D, but you can do whatever you like. And the rhythm pattern is very similar to what John does in so many songs. It's basically just 1, 2, and 4 and, right? 1, 2, and 4 and. So on a verse, on a refrain really, it's like, to the B minor, E minor 7th, A, then just D, E minor 7th A. Or if you prefer, you can play a D6 there. Right? So in time, simple sounds like this. 1, 2, ready, go. So you can see the song is just based on, doo-wop chords. Those there's a million songs like that. D, B minor, and the kicker is the D6 sound. That again predominantly comes from George's guitar. Now on the verses, again, it's just D, B minor, E minor, 7th A. So on a verse, simply it would be, should count 1, 2, 3, 4. Then back into the refrain. And it's intro, refrain, verse, refrain, and then a bridge. Now into the bridge, they do a triplet thing. John plays on a D7. He plays like triplets, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And now you'll need a G7 to an A7. And I'm looking at my chart. Oh, he plays his B minor down here. Let me move my papers. And you'll also need back to E minor. Oh, here's an E minor 6th in here. A, D. So in the bridge, very slowly, the bridge rhythm is like this. To an A, and finishing off with a D. So in time, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. Back to a refrain, simple refrain. Or if you want to put that D6 there. Then and then John plays a B minor here. Up to a B flat here, straight A, and ends on a D. So again, that ending. Charts and tabs at MikePachelli.com will make it a lot clearer than I've probably just explained. But that's what John played on Tell Me Why. George Harrison is playing his Country Gentleman on Tell Me Why, plugged into an AC30. And on the intro, you'll need these chords. E minor 7 and an A7. And just like John's parties, George is playing on 1 and on the end of 2. So 1, 2, and. And then during the refrain, George just once again does some just intelligent accents. You just gotta love George and everything he thought of, because his parts always add so much. They're just kind of unassuming, but they add so much. And he basically plays one and. So the chords again are D to B minor, E minor 7th, A 7th, then George plays a D 6th, and E minor 7 to A 7. And the accents are just like 3, 4. And that's the part he plays on the refrains. So an intro and refrain in time would sound like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. Such a simple part, but when you put it together with John strumming, it just creates such a nice full thing. Then on the verses, slightly different. On the first part, again, chords are D, B minor, E minor 7, and A 7. So on the D, he plays the same. He plays, but the first time he anticipates the first B minor, so he goes. Then back down, E minor 7th on 1. Second time, he does not anticipate the B minor. He simply plays. Just like that. So in time, that verse, a verse, would be 1, 2, ready, go. Thank you, Ringo. And then back to the refrain, verse, and into the bridge. He plays his D7 here for the triplets, the 1 ta ta, 2 ta ta, 3 ta ta, 4 ta ta. Then into the bridge, basically he starts off just like what John played, playing very slowly to A7. Then he gets his B minor up here. And he plays this rhythm. He goes. His E minor is played like this. Very George Harrison E minor, almost like a G6 to a A7 to a D. So in time, George's bridge. 1, 2, ready, go. Back to the refrain, which is just normal. And then George's ending. He plays his B minor up here. He goes B flat. And then good old George, he plays an A suspended to an A6 to the D. So in time, it's slowly. It just adds so much, doesn't it? Gotta love George. I certainly do. Well, I put it all together in a sound alike so you can see how the parts fit together, so have a look at this.
Tell me why
Well, there you have it. And now you've heard how it should have sounded if it would have been mixed more guitar-friendly on the record. Well, I suggest you download the charts and tabs at MikePachelli.com, learn both parts, play along with my sound-alike, and you'll get it to sound just like the Beatles intended. And if you'd like to drop me a line, please do so at MikePachelli.com, and that's where the charts and tabs for all my video lessons are available for you to download. And I appreciate your consideration in supporting my work that way. So have fun playing this great old song, and until next time, I'm Mike Pachelli. Thanks for hanging out with me.